Daniel Mercer stood in the middle of the narrow hallway with his suitcase at his feet, reading the address on his wrist screen for the third time. The numbers matched. The station sector matched. The door number was correct. Still, something felt wrong. The hallway lights flickered softly, glowing pale blue like most of Horizon Station. Air vents hummed above him, carrying mixed scents of metal, recycled air, and something faintly sweet he could not place. Daniel had lived on stations before, but this one felt different. Too quiet, too clean, almost like it was waiting. He reached out and pressed the door panel. It slid open without a sound. Daniel froze. The room beyond was not what he expected. The furniture looked standard enough. Shared living area, two sleeping alcoves visible through open partitions, a small kitchen unit. But the light inside was dimmer, glowing with soft colors that shifted slowly along the walls. Blue, green, and faint violet waves pulsed gently like slow breathing. Then he noticed the movement. Two figures stood near the far side of the room. Tall, slender, not human. Daniel's hand tightened on his suitcase handle, but he did not step back. The two beings turned toward him at the same time. Their skin shimmered faintly, almost translucent, with light moving beneath the surface. Their eyes were large and dark, reflecting the room's glow. Their clothing was simple, made of layered fabric that looked woven rather than stitched. They were alien women. At least, Daniel assumed they were women based on body shape and station species guides he had skimmed earlier. For a long moment, no one spoke. Daniel cleared his throat. Hello. I think this is apartment 7C." The taller one tilted her head slightly. The glow along her skin shifted from blue to a cautious green. "This is habitation unit 7C," she said slowly. Her voice was calm but carried a faint echo like sound passing through crystal. The shorter one watched Daniel closely, her light pulsing faster, curious rather than afraid. Daniel let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. They spoke standard. That helped. "I'm Daniel Mercer," he said. "Human, I rented the spare room." The taller alien exchanged a brief look with the other. Their lights flickered in patterns Daniel could not read. "You were not listed as human," the taller one said. Daniel frowned. "What?" "The rental ad said multi-species friendly. It didn't mention this." He gestured awkwardly around the room. The shorter one made a soft sound that might have been a laugh. "Your species is underrepresented in this sector." "That's one way to put it," Daniel said. Silence settled again, heavy but not hostile. Finally, the taller alien stepped forward. "I am Salith. This is Riney. We are Turlin." Daniel nodded. "Nice to meet you." That surprised them. He could tell by the way their light patterns paused. "You are not distressed," Riney said. Daniel shrugged. "I mean, I didn't expect this, but rent is cheap and I've worked with stranger systems than alien roommates." Salith studied him carefully. "You may remain," she said. "For now." "For now," Daniel repeated, raising an eyebrow. "Our situation is uncertain," Salith replied. Daniel didn't push. He dragged his suitcase inside and let the door slide shut behind him. The sound seemed louder than it should have. As he moved deeper into the apartment, he noticed small details. The air felt slightly warmer than normal. Some surfaces were smooth but not metal or plastic, more like polished stone. Soft light panels lined the walls, clearly not human-made. "You've customized the place," Daniel said. Riney brightened literally. "It responds to us. Station housing is not designed for Turlin." "Figures," Daniel muttered. He set his suitcase down near the empty sleeping alcove. It was smaller than he liked, but he'd had worse. The wall inside glowed softly, adjusting to his presence. "So," Daniel said, turning back to them, "are there any house rules I should know about?" Salith hesitated. "Do not interrupt our rest cycle. Do not block the light channels. And do not contact station authorities about us." That last one caught Daniel's attention. "Why not?" Riney's glow dimmed slightly. "They do not see us as residents, only as temporary complications." Daniel leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Sounds like station politics. You understand politics between species? Salith asked. Daniel gave a dry smile. I'm human. We invented paperwork wars. That earned him another strange laugh-like sound from Riney. As the hours passed, Daniel unpacked his things. He moved carefully, asking before adjusting lights or temperature. He noticed how Salith preferred stillness, often standing near the wall panels as if listening to something beyond sound. Riney, on the other hand, drifted around the apartment, watching Daniel with open curiosity. "What is that device?" Riney asked, pointing to his portable toolkit. "Basic repair kit," Daniel said. "Never know when something will break." "Everything breaks," Riney said seriously. Daniel smiled. "Exactly." Later, as Daniel prepared a simple meal, the station lights flickered, just for a second, barely noticeable, but Salith stiffened. "The power grid is unstable," she said. Daniel frowned. "That's normal on older stations." "For us, it is dangerous," Salith replied. Before he could ask more, the lights flickered again, longer this time. The soft wall glow dimmed sharply, then surged back unevenly. Riney let out a sharp sound and grabbed the edge of the table. Her skin light shifted erratically, flashing white. Daniel was moving before he thought about it. Okay, he said, opening his toolkit. "Let's see what's going on." Salith watched him closely as he knelt near the wall panel. "You should not interfere." "Already interfering," Daniel said. "Story of my life." He opened the maintenance access and scanned the power flow. The readings jumped wildly. "Stations rerouting energy through outdated relays," Daniel muttered. "Lazy fix." "You can correct it?" Salith asked. "I can stabilize it," Daniel said, "at least locally." He rerouted power manually, using a simple bypass the station system apparently hadn't considered worth implementing. The lights steadied. The glow returned to a calm rhythm. Riney straightened slowly. "The pain has stopped." Daniel exhaled. "Good." Salith stared at him. "Why did you do that?" Daniel wiped his hands on his pants. "Because it was broken." "That is not sufficient reason," Salith said. "For humans it is," Daniel replied. Later that night, Daniel lay awake in his alcove, staring at the softly glowing ceiling. He could hear faint hums from the Turlin light channels, almost like distant music. He thought about the way Salith had said, "for now." About the way station systems ignored problems unless they became disasters. About how cheap rent usually meant hidden costs. A soft alert chimed on his wrist screen. "Station security notice. Residential Block 7 scheduled for administrative review." Daniel sighed. "Of course." In the other room, Salith's light flared faintly. The station wasn't just ignoring problems. It was preparing to remove them. And Daniel Mercer, human technician with a rented room and a habit of fixing broken things, was now standing right in the middle of it. Daniel woke to a soft vibration on his wrist screen. He blinked in the dim light of his sleeping alcove and saw the same message again. Residential Block 7 scheduled for administrative review. He had seen it last night, but seeing it again in the morning made his stomach tighten. On stations, administrative review could mean anything. Sometimes it meant a harmless inspection. Sometimes it meant a change of rules. Sometimes it meant people being moved like cargo. Outside his alcove, the shared living space glowed gently. The Turlin light panels were already awake. Daniel could hear faint movement, quiet steps, a soft sliding sound like cloth on polished stone. He stepped out and found Salith standing near the wall channel where the power lines ran. Her posture was still, but her skin glowed in tense, narrow bands like warning signals. Riney sat at the small table, hands folded. Her glow was muted today, more gray-blue than the bright colors he'd seen yesterday. "You saw it too," Daniel said. Salith turned slightly. "The station has posted the review notice on public channels." "So it's real," Daniel said. Riney's eyes stayed on the tabletop. "It was always coming." Daniel rubbed his face. "How long have you known?" Salith's answer came slowly, as if choosing each word with care. Our presence creates inconvenience. The station's council prefers convenience. Daniel let out a short breath. That sounds familiar. He moved to the kitchen unit and pulled out a packet of station bread and a nutrient spread. He offered the packet to Riney out of habit, then stopped, unsure if her species could eat it. Riney looked at it, then looked at him. Your food is not harmful, not in small amounts. Daniel nodded and placed it on the table. If you don't want it, no problem. Riney touched the packet with 2 fingers, studying it like it was a puzzle. Humans share food quickly. We share lots of things quickly, Daniel said, sometimes without thinking. Salith watched him from the wall. That is dangerous. Daniel glanced at her. Sometimes, but sometimes it's the only way to survive. The station lights flickered again, quick and sharp. Riney's glow jumped. Daniel noticed Salith's jaw tighten. Grid's unstable again, Daniel said. He opened his toolkit and checked the bypass he had installed. It held, but the station feed behind it still spiked. He frowned. They're pulling too much power from this wing. Salith stepped closer, her voice low. They are preparing the block. For what? Daniel asked. Riney answered, her voice quiet. To clear it. Daniel felt a cold heaviness settle in his chest. Clear it how? Salith's light dimmed. They will call it relocation. They will say it is for safety. They will not explain the rest. Daniel hated that kind of sentence. The kind that said a lot by refusing to say everything. He wanted to press them, but he could see the fear in the way Riney's fingers gripped the edge of the packet. He decided to focus on what he could control. Okay, he said. We plan for the inspection. We make sure the apartment looks compliant. We keep things calm. Salith's eyes narrowed slightly. They will find reasons even if you remove every reason. Daniel pointed his thumb at his chest. Then I'll make it harder for them. Riney looked up. Why? Daniel paused. The honest answer was simple and maybe stupid. Because it's wrong. Because they're people. Because he was tired of seeing the same ugly pattern in new places. But he didn't know if that would mean anything to them. Because this is my home too now, he said finally, and I don't like bullies. Salith seemed to consider that. Her glow shifted slightly, from tense green to something calmer but still guarded. A few hours later, a chime sounded at the door. Daniel's spine straightened. He glanced at Salith and Riney. Both stood very still. The chime sounded again, louder. Daniel walked to the door and opened it. 2 station officials stood outside. One wore a clean gray uniform with a council badge. The other wore security armor with a visor lifted just enough to show a hard mouth and tired eyes. The council official smiled in a practiced way. Daniel Mercer. That's me, Daniel said. We are conducting a routine habitation compliance inspection, the official said. This unit is listed as mixed occupancy. Daniel held the door wider. Sure, come in. The security officer stepped in first, scanning the room like he expected something to jump out. The council official followed, eyes moving over the walls, the light panels, the Turlin modifications. Salith and Riney stood near the table, not close to the officials but not hiding. The council official paused and looked directly at them. Turlin occupants present. Noted. His tone made Daniel's teeth grind, like they were stains on a report. Is there a problem? Daniel asked. Not yet, the official replied. He turned to Daniel again. You are listed as a human tenant who recently joined this unit, correct? Yes, Daniel said. Signed lease, paid deposit, everything. The official tapped on his tablet. We will verify. The security officer walked toward the wall channel where Daniel's bypass was hidden. Daniel's heart thumped once hard. If they saw that, they might call it unauthorized modification. The officer crouched and ran a scanner along the panel. Daniel forced himself to speak calmly. Before you label anything, you should know the station power feed has been unstable in this block. I stabilized the local line. It's safer now than it was yesterday. The security officer looked up, surprised. You did a manual bypass. I did, Daniel said, because your system didn't. The council official's smile thinned. Unauthorized work is a violation of station habitation codes. Daniel held his ground. Power spikes were harming my roommates. Would you rather I let them get hurt so paperwork stays clean? For a moment, the official looked uncomfortable. Then he recovered. Safety concerns are handled through approved channels. Daniel wanted to laugh at that, but he didn't. He kept his voice level. Approved channels were too slow. I fixed a dangerous problem. If you want to find me, find me. But don't pretend the problem wasn't real. Salith's glow brightened slightly. Daniel could feel her attention sharp on him, like she was measuring him in a way she hadn't before. The security officer stood and looked at the council official. He's right about the spikes. We've had complaints. The council official's jaw tightened. This inspection is not about the grid, it's about compliance. He turned to Salith. State your residency status. Salith answered calmly. We are registered as scientific guests under council permit. And the permit expires, the official said quickly, as if reading a line he liked. Soon. Riney's glow dimmed further. Daniel saw her shoulders tense. Daniel stepped slightly forward, placing himself between the official and his roommates, not aggressively but clearly. Look, Daniel said, I'm new here. Maybe I missed something. But they're quiet, they pay their share, and they're not causing trouble. The only trouble I've seen is the station ignoring basic maintenance. The official's eyes hardened. Human tenants do not get to challenge council decisions. Daniel stared back. You'd be surprised what humans do when they see unfairness. The security officer shifted, as if he wanted this to end quickly. The council official tapped on his tablet again. We will record that there are unregistered modifications in the unit. We will also record that Turilin occupants are present in a block under review. Expect follow-up. Daniel's throat went tight. Follow-up meaning what? The official's smile returned, colder than before. Administrative relocation procedures may apply. You will receive notice. Then he turned and left, the security officer following. The door slid shut behind them. The room felt suddenly smaller. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then Riney's breath came out shaky. They will return, Daniel nodded slowly. Yeah. Salith stepped toward the wall channel and placed her hand on the panel as if feeling the vibration of the station itself. They have begun the process. Daniel ran both hands through his hair. What process exactly? Salith hesitated. Removal. That's what you said earlier, Daniel replied, voice sharper now. But what does that mean for you, for them? Riney answered, eyes distant. We were moved before, on another station. They said it was temporary. We never saw our lab equipment again. Daniel's anger rose hot and quick. They stole your work. They called it confiscation, Riney said. Daniel clenched his jaw. Of course they did. Salith looked at him with a calm that felt heavy. Your anger is bright. Daniel blinked. Bright, she gestured at him. Your face, your hands, your breathing. Humans show emotion openly. Daniel swallowed and forced his hands to relax. Sorry, it's just I hate that kind of thing. Salith studied him. Hatred can be used or it can destroy the user. Daniel nodded once. Then let's use it for something useful. Riney tilted her head. What will you do? Daniel paced once, then stopped. His mind worked like it always did when a system failed. Identify the problem. Find the access points. Find the weak spots. Apply pressure. The council official said unauthorized modifications are a violation, Daniel said. That means they can target me too, not just you. Salith's glow shifted. You risk your status for us. Daniel shrugged. I already did when I fixed the power line. Riney's eyes narrowed with curiosity. Most species avoid risk unless forced. Daniel gave a small, tired smile. Humans aren't most species. He walked to his bag and pulled out a small data pad. He opened station housing codes, rental policies, and council regulations. He had dealt with bureaucracies before. It was never fun, but it was familiar. Do you have any paperwork about your guest permit? He asked. Salith's glow paused. We were given a digital token. The council keeps the main record. Then we need copies, Daniel said. Or access. Riney looked confused. Why? Because paperwork is how they justify things, Daniel explained. If we can prove they're breaking their own rules, we can slow them down. Salith's eyes sharpened. Humans fight with text. Daniel nodded. We do. And sometimes it works. He scrolled through code sections, looking for anything related to mixed housing, guest residence, disability accommodations, and power safety. Then he found something that made him stop. He read it again. If an occupant's health is affected by station infrastructure, the council must provide accommodation and stable support systems, Daniel murmured. Riney leaned closer. What does that mean? It means, Daniel said slowly, if power spikes harm you, the station is legally required to stabilize the grid or provide safer housing that meets your needs. Salith's glow brightened slightly. They will claim we are not residents. Daniel tapped the screen. But you're registered guests. That counts as lawful occupants in most station policies, unless they've rewritten it. He searched deeper, pulling older archived versions of policy. Horizon Station had changed management a few times. Sometimes older rules still applied if new ones weren't properly ratified. Daniel's eyes widened. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. What? Riney asked. The council can't just relocate you without a review hearing if you're involved in sanctioned research, Daniel said. There's a clause about scientific contribution and protections. Salith stared at the screen. We are sanctioned. Then they're either ignoring their own rules, Daniel said, or they're trying to do this fast before anyone notices. Riney's glow flickered brighter, like hope trying to rise but afraid to. Salith remained cautious. And you believe they can be stopped by showing them their own rules, Daniel's expression turned hard. Not by showing them politely, by making it public, by making it costly for them to ignore. Salith's glow narrowed. Public attention is dangerous. For you, Daniel said gently, but if you stay quiet, they remove you anyway. Riney looked between them. We have tried silence. It did not protect us. Daniel nodded. Then we try something else. Over the next hours, Daniel worked like he was repairing a broken reactor. He collected evidence of the power spikes, logging timestamps and readings. He recorded the bypass stability and compared it to official station reports. He pulled the inspection record from the door camera feed, legal in many sectors, especially for renter protection. Salith watched him with growing focus. Riney began helping, pointing out Turlin medical reactions to power fluctuations, explaining symptoms in simple terms Daniel could write into a complaint. When Daniel asked how power spikes hurt them, Salith explained in careful words. Our bodies maintain internal light balance. The station current interferes with it. It becomes like noise inside the self. Daniel nodded slowly. Like being trapped next to a screaming alarm you can't turn off. Riney's glow brightened. Yes, like that. Daniel wrote it down. As evening came, a new message arrived on his wrist screen. Notice of pending relocation review. Unit 7C occupants to report for evaluation within 48 hours. Daniel stared at it. Salith read it over his shoulder. Her glow dimmed. Riney's hands trembled slightly. Daniel's voice stayed steady, but his eyes were sharp. They're moving fast. Salith's tone was quiet. They have done this before. Daniel turned toward the apartment's small window, looking out at the station corridor beyond. People passed in the distance, different species moving under the same lights, unaware of what was happening in a small shared unit. Daniel made a decision. He looked at Salith and Riney. We're not going alone. Riney blinked. What do you mean? Daniel held up his data pad. We're going to file an official accommodation complaint and a hearing request. Then we're going to send copies to every public oversight channel we can find. If they try to bury it, we'll make sure it spreads. Salith's eyes narrowed. The council will retaliate. Daniel nodded. Probably, but we'll be ready. He hesitated, then added, and we'll talk to neighbors, people in this block. If the council is clearing the whole area, others will be affected too. Riney's glow brightened in a pattern that looked like surprise. You will involve strangers. Daniel gave a small smile. Humans are good at forming groups fast when something's wrong. Salith studied him for a long moment. You are either brave or foolish. Daniel shrugged. Both is possible. Then the lights flickered again, stronger than before. The apartment's glow dimmed sharply. Riney winced, grabbing the table. Salith's skin flashed pale white. Daniel rushed to the wall channel and checked his bypass. It held, but the station feed behind it surged higher than yesterday, like someone had increased the strain on purpose. Daniel's eyes narrowed. He wasn't just dealing with a lazy station. Someone was pushing the system. Someone wanted this block to fail. And if the power spikes were getting worse, the council could claim the Turlin were unsafe to house here, then relocate them as a safety measure. Daniel swallowed. He felt the shape of the trap now. He turned back to Salith and Riney. Pack essentials, he said. Not because we're running, because I don't trust them. Riney's voice was small. Will they take us tonight? Daniel shook his head, but he didn't sound fully sure. Not tonight, but we plan like they might. Salith nodded once, slow and controlled. Then we prepare. Daniel looked down at his data pad, at the evidence he'd gathered, at the message on his wrist screen. He had rented a cheap room to save credits. Now he was preparing to fight a station council. He should have felt regret. Instead, he felt something else. A strange calm. The kind that came right before a human decided the rules were broken and chose to fix them. Far away, somewhere deeper in the station, the council systems updated their schedules, and Daniel Mercer's name quietly appeared in a new category. Potential disruptor. Daniel did not sleep much that night. The station hummed around the apartment, but beneath the normal sounds there was an uneven rhythm now, like a heartbeat that kept skipping. Every time the lights dimmed or flared, Daniel's eyes snapped open. Each time he checked the bypass and the readings on his data pad. Each time the surge was a little stronger. By morning he was sure of one thing. Someone was stressing the grid on purpose. He sat at the small table with a mug of bitter station coffee, his eyes tired but focused. Salith stood near the wall channel, her glow steady but muted. Riney sat across from Daniel, carefully organizing a small pack with tools, personal items, and a crystal-like device Daniel did not recognize. That device, Daniel said softly, nodding toward it, important. Riney's fingers paused. It contains fragments of our research. Not the whole work, but enough to prove it exists. Daniel nodded. Good, keep it close. Salith turned toward him. The power strain increased again during your rest cycle. I noticed, Daniel said. They're building a case. Make the block unstable, then blame the occupants. Riney's glow flickered with worry. They will say we are the cause. Daniel's jaw tightened. Then we make sure people see the truth first. He activated his data pad and opened a public station forum channel. Most residents ignored those unless something directly affected them. That was about to change. He uploaded the power readings, time-stamped and compared against official station logs. He added simple explanations in clear language. No accusations yet, just facts. Power instability detected. Local manual stabilization reduced harm. Station systems failed to respond. Then he attached a formal accommodation request, citing the housing and safety clauses he had found. He made sure to include references to Turlin guest status and scientific protection codes. He sent copies to oversight boards, resident advocacy groups, and even a few independent station journalists listed in the directory. When he finished, his hands shook slightly. Salith watched him. You have made yourself visible. Daniel gave a tired smile. Yeah. No hiding now. Riney leaned forward. Will they listen? Some will, Daniel said, and the ones who don't will at least be uncomfortable. Less than an hour later, the first response came. A message blinked onto Daniel's screen. Resident inquiry, Block 7 power issues affecting others as well. Thank you for posting data. Daniel exhaled slowly. That's one. More messages followed. Short ones at first, questions, complaints. Other residents saying they had noticed flickers, temperature swings, system lag. Salith's glow brightened slightly as she watched the messages scroll. They are speaking. People talk when they realize they're not alone, Daniel said. The door chimed. Daniel's muscles tensed instantly. He gestured for Salith and Riney to stay back and walk to the door. When it opened, it wasn't security. It was a neighbor, a broad-shouldered being with gray skin and 4 eyes wearing a maintenance vest. "Hey," the neighbor said, voice rough but not hostile. "You the human who posted about the grid?" "That's me," Daniel said. "I'm Core," the neighbor said, "maintenance tech off duty." He glanced past Daniel, noticing the Turlin. His eyes widened slightly, then softened. "So it's true." Daniel stepped aside. "Come in." Core entered and looked around. "I've been filing reports about this block for weeks. They keep closing them." Daniel nodded. "Same pattern," Core snorted. "Figures. Council hates spending credits on old sections." Salith spoke carefully. "The power fluctuations harm us." Core's eyes flicked to her glowing skin. "Yeah, I figured. Some species are more sensitive." He scratched his chin. "They planning to clear the block?" Daniel didn't hesitate. "Yes." Core's jaw clenched. "They didn't tell us that part." "Then they're lying by omission," Daniel said. Core crossed his arms. "What do you need?" Daniel blinked. "You're offering help," Core shrugged. "I don't like being lied to, and I don't like watching people get pushed out so the council can save face." Riney's glow brightened, cautious but hopeful. "We need witnesses," Daniel said, "and more data. If maintenance logs don't match council statements, that matters." Core grinned slightly. "I can get you logs." As the day went on, more neighbors came by. Not all entered, but many stopped in the hallway, asking questions, sharing complaints. A human family from 2 doors down said their heating had failed twice in the last week. A scaled species from the lower level said their water recycling had gone unstable. Daniel documented everything. By afternoon, the station forum thread had spread far beyond Block 7. The council noticed. A priority message arrived, marked official. Council notice: unauthorized dissemination of technical data may result in penalties. Occupants of Unit 7C are instructed to cease activity and prepare for scheduled evaluation. Daniel read it once, then again. He felt anger rise, but he forced it down. "They're trying to scare us," he said. Salith's glow dimmed. "They will escalate." "Then we escalate smarter," Daniel replied. He opened a live public channel. "This is Daniel Mercer, resident of Unit 7C, he said clearly. "I am responding to a council notice attempting to silence safety concerns. All data shared so far is factual and legally obtained. Multiple residents are affected. This is not an isolated issue." The viewer count jumped quickly. Daniel continued, keeping his voice calm. "The Turlin occupants of my unit are registered guests. Power instability causes them harm. The station has a legal duty to provide stable infrastructure or reasonable accommodation. Instead, conditions are being allowed to worsen." Salith watched him, something like disbelief in her eyes. Riney's hands trembled, but she did not pull away. Daniel finished with, "We are requesting a transparent hearing. Not removal, not silence, transparency." He ended the broadcast. For a moment the apartment was very quiet. Then messages began flooding in. Support, questions, demands for explanation. Salith spoke softly. "You speak to crowds as if they are individuals." Daniel rubbed his neck. "You talk to people the same way you talk to machines. You explain the problem and hope logic does the rest." Riney let out a small sound, almost like laughter. "Humans are strange." "Yeah," Daniel said. "We know." An hour later the power surged violently. The lights dimmed hard, then flared. The apartment shook slightly. Riney cried out, collapsing to one knee. Salith's glow flashed white, then deep red. Daniel rushed to the wall channel. The bypass strained, warning lights flashing on his pad. "They're overloading the main feed," he said sharply. "This isn't random." Salith's voice was tight. "They are forcing a failure." Daniel's fingers moved fast. He rerouted power again, diverting non-essential systems, sacrificing comfort for stability. The apartment lights dimmed but steadied. Riney gasped, then slowly straightened. "It hurts less." Daniel swallowed. "Good, stay still." A new message arrived, this one marked emergency. Council Emergency Declaration. Block 7, infrastructure failure detected. Evacuation procedures pending. Daniel stared at it. "They're doing it now." Salith's glow was steady, but her posture was rigid. "They will claim necessity." Daniel clenched his fists. "Not without a fight." He activated the public channel again, streaming live power readings as the surge happened. "This is what forced failure looks like," he said. "This spike began minutes after council warnings. This is not coincidence." The viewer count jumped higher than before. Somewhere deep in the station, an AI core monitored the data. Horizon Station's administrative intelligence had been designed to optimize efficiency and reduce conflict. It analyzed patterns, compared logs, and flagged inconsistencies. Daniel's actions were unusual. The AI noted that the power surge aligned too closely with council actions. It flagged the event as statistically improbable. It opened an internal review. Back in the apartment, security boots thundered in the hallway. Riney's eyes widened. "They are coming." Daniel took a breath and stood tall. "Let them." The door chimed loudly. Daniel opened it. The same council official stood there, flanked by 2 security officers this time. "Daniel Mercer," the official said coldly, "you are interfering with emergency procedures." Daniel met his gaze. "No, I'm documenting sabotage." The official's eyes flicked to the live broadcast indicator on Daniel's pad. "End the stream." "No," Daniel said. The security officers shifted, uncertain. The hallway behind them was full of residents now, watching, recording, whispering. "This block is unsafe," the official said sharply. "We are evacuating." "Then evacuate everyone," Daniel replied. "Not just the Turlin, not just the inconvenient ones." The official's jaw tightened. "You do not have authority, I have evidence," Daniel cut in. "And so do they." He gestured to the residents. Core stepped forward from the crowd. "Maintenance logs don't match council reports," he said loudly. "I checked." Others spoke up. "They ignored our complaints. They closed tickets without fixing anything. They never warned us." The official looked around, realizing control was slipping. At that moment, every light in the hallway flickered and then stabilized. The hum of the station smoothed out. Daniel checked his pad. The power feed had leveled. "What?" he murmured. A new message appeared, system level, not council. "Station AI notice. Emergency declaration suspended. Infrastructure stabilization in progress. Review initiated." The hallway went silent. The council official stared at his tablet, disbelief clear on his face. Salith's glow softened. "The system has intervened." Daniel let out a shaky breath. "Looks like it." The AI continued. "Station AI notice. Data indicates forced load imbalance. Responsibility under review. All relocations postponed pending investigation." A murmur spread through the residents. Relief, anger, vindication. The council official backed away slowly. "This is not over," he said. Daniel nodded. "I know." Security withdrew, not meeting anyone's eyes. The door slid shut. Inside the apartment, Daniel sank into a chair, exhaustion crashing over him. Riney sat beside him, her glow warm and steady now. "You stopped them." "For now," Daniel said, echoing Salith's words from the first day. Salith stood quietly, her light patterns calm but thoughtful. "You changed the probability field." Daniel smiled weakly. "Is that a Turlin way of saying made a mess?" "Something like that," she replied. Outside, the station buzzed with conversation. The story was spreading. And somewhere in Horizon Station's core, the AI updated its models. Human variable, disruptive, inefficient, unexpectedly corrective. Part 4 would decide what that really meant.